Hello and welcome to Whispers Within. This is such a brand new podcast that you're listening to. My name is Ralph Masiga, who will be taking you through this amazing podcast. Solo. Solo. I am so happy and so excited for this particular podcast. For those people who don't know me, I am a media maven. I am a lover of communication and hence I am a communication enthusiast. I'm also a truth advocate, founder and host of Campus Unwind podcast. Yes. So this is not my first podcast to host. I also host Campus Unwind podcast, which is a trio podcast. That means it is hosted by 3 young and energetic campus students from the 254, that is Kenya. It's such an amazing podcast. You can check it out on YouTube at Campus Unwind podcast. Unwind is UNWIND. I get that a lot. So it's Campus Unwind podcast on YouTube, on Spotify for audio podcast, or any other podcast listening platforms for audio podcast. For video, it's just pure YouTube for now. Anyway, enough plugins. So Whispers Within is such a blessed and personal podcast to me. I felt like I should come and do something that is different from what I do at Campus Unwind podcast. And just for the context also, and just to clear the air, I am not quitting Campus Unwind podcast. And Campus Unwind podcast is going nowhere. Campus Unwind podcast is here to stay. The reason why I'm saying this is because I remember when my brother Emmanuel K started his solo podcast, that is 30-minute podcast with EK, most people thought that we've now gotten to a point where we want to split. Yeah. And also when I shared some stories to my friends, not some stories, when I shared this idea of me having a podcast to those close friends of mine, one of them thought actually that Campus Unwind podcast is dying. And I remember her words were, hivyo ndivyo kunaanzanga. And I'm like, why should you think of that? And actually going to a point of telling me hivyo ndivyo kunaanzanga. I mean, it might be happening out there, but not with us. Yeah, I'm not bragging. I'm actually saying what is actually the truth. We're not breaking. So yeah, achenani na mambo mingi, because now I have a podcast and my brother Emmanuel K has a podcast. You think that now we're going separate ways? No, we can't go separate ways. Campus Unwind podcast is founded by 3 people. You know, actually it's more than 3 people. It's founded by 4, 5 people. Yeah, it's just that we 3 hosts. We the 3, we host, but it has been founded by like 4, 5 people. Anyway, tutoke huko. So there's this niche that I really wanted to accomplish that I couldn't accomplish pale Cap, and I have to do it solo. I don't have to look for a co-host because I want a space where I can yap about anything. I want a place where if it's a Monday morning, I'm going to work, or any other day of the week, and I just come across something that I want to talk about it. I can actually take my recorder out and record that stuff, that same time. And I'm like, let me just record this. You understand? That's the kind of thing I was looking for. For Campus Unwind podcast, it's not possible because we have to sit down, strategize, talk, involve many people, the production team, our manager. So kidogo, you see. And I remember that was also the same idea behind 30-minute podcast with Ike. Saki kuyongelelea sana because it is his podcast. So I might talk of something that he is not comfortable with, because also he was looking for, sikia sitaki kuongelea sana na nasema also, he was looking for something that is going to complement radio kind of vibe. You understand? Yeah, because we know Emmanuel with radio. He is such a loving person when it comes to radio things and radio manenos. He really wishes to be on radio. And Emmanuel, imagine utafika hapo. You will get there. Just like venye pia mimi najionanga mahali. We're going far. So yeah, that's the whole thing about Whispers Within. I'm gonna be hosting such amazing stories, conversations here. Yeah, but first, before even I tell you much about Whispers Within, we can listen to some of the explanation I had when it comes to why that cover photo, why that beat, why so many things that I included in Whispers Within. So guys, let's listen to what I have for Whispers Within. So let me say something about my cover art. My cover art is a very sat down and designed kind of cover art. So I had two different people who came on board for this cover art, me being the third person, and I was just like an initiator. So I had a professional who we had to discuss the whole idea about Whispers Within. So there's a lot that is happening with the cover photo. Let's start first with the color. The reason as to why that color, I was looking for something that is closer to green and closer to blue. I know that's so weird, but it is. So I was looking for something that is closer to blue and closer to green. I don't know what color that is. I just didn't want a green color and I didn't want a blue color. And if it has to be green, just let it be a complicated green. Let it not be like, if anybody sees it, they'll be like, this is green. Okay, so I might, cause I'm a guy, mnatuambianga we are colorblind, I might be convinced that is not an exact color of green. I'm a shade of green. But maybe if somebody out there like the babe see it, they'd be like, Ralph, this is green. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. So I was just looking for something that is going to brighten the mood of the podcast, which is a silent color but colorful. I didn't want something that is screaming, like yellowish and all those screaming colors. I just didn't want them. Also, I didn't want dull colors. Why? We all know that colors communicate. Yeah, you can get a communication from color. And me having pursued the course I'm pursuing in school, I have met a topic where we talk about colors communicating to me, colors communicating to us as the professionals on that side. So there's something, it's actually called color communication. Yeah, so there's something like values and tone of the color. That is what I was putting into consideration when I was actually choosing a color to, represent Whispers Within, or a theme. Let's call it a theme. So yeah, in case you just come across that color, that's it. You can go and do some more research on color value. I think you can actually just Google and you'll meet it there. About me being used on the cover art. Well, me is just like me being the face of Whispers Within. I mean, I am the host. You understand? One. So it's like, basically me being the face of Whispers Within. Another reason as to why I was being used there is because this podcast is meant for human beings. I mean, it's not meant for cows. It's not meant for cats. It's not meant for goats. It's just meant for human beings. So I am also a representation of a human being. I'm a representation of you and your friend and your family, just anybody who is tuning in to Whispers Within. Here is somebody who is representing you. I sat down and thought about it for quite some time, because I was like, I think I can also use some, random pictures and, bring this whole thing rather than using myself. So I remember when I was starting the creation of this cover art, it was to be done by an artist from scratch, to be drawn. You understand? So even the human being was to be in form of a drawn person, not me, not any other person, just a random drawn art. But as time went by, unfortunately, the one who was to design it for me was caught up with the school manenos. You understand, like these school things, and hakuna venye ningekosa kumu excuse cause of shule. You understand? Yeah, so that's how now the idea of me using my own picture came from. And this picture is kind of a bit blessed for this particular podcast. Why? Because when I took this picture in 2024, back in June, I took it. It was a very random picture, and a lot was happening at that time when it comes to nature and the environment I was in. And when I talk of environment, I talk of even the trees that you can see at the background. Yeah. So I took this picture and I was like, you know what? This is going to be the cover art of your podcast. Yes, at that time, the podcast was not to be called Whispers Within. But still, even after me changing the name to Whispers Within and changing and I didn't change the niche, changing, when I change the name, it's going to change quite some things in the plan, which I managed to change quite on time. And also, what else did it change? Nothing. Yeah, so when I managed to change the podcast to Whispers Within, at least also the picture became relevant to what I was talking about. Because when I tried to look at the kind of area I was in, where I was standing, okay, that picture has been cropped, but the kind of environment I was in a very I'm in a place with a place with quite some many trees, and also it was looking like that shape of a valley. So I was on top. So anybody who is down there at the stream is actually seeing me like I'm on the hill. You understand? And basically, that's the whole concept of Whispers Within. When you try and look kidogo behind those trees, you can see some shady areas. Those were to represent something like a hilly place, something like a hilly place or a mountainous place, and a hill and a mountain complements Whispers. Yes. I know, I feel like this is a very theological class, but you're going to pardon me for that. Yeah, so a hilly area or mountainous areas complement Whispers. So a hill or a mountain and Whispers, they just, they blend each other nicely. So that was the whole concept. And plus also in hilly and mountainous places, there are trees, and not just like scattered trees. No, there are quite so many trees according to the many hills I have seen. I know there are some other hills where I think there are no trees, like the one in Isiolo. Is it? Did I come across a tree in Isiolo? Yeah. Okay, there were trees. Yeah, there were trees. There were trees. I remember there was a part of the mountain that had trees. So if you've been to Isiolo, there is this part it was being called a Swahili name. I can't remember. If you know those Swahili names from Isiolo, kindly hit my DM and let's try and discuss which mountain it is. So the mountain was occupying a very vast area, and that was the whole concept. Like from point A to point B, it was a very, can I say, like a long distance, like you to say acha nifuate mlima uko chini kwa barabara, acha nione imefika wapi mwisho. It was a very long way. So that's why you can see the shady parts that I'm saying, they represent the hilly areas or the mountainous places. It's running all the way to the back of the cover art nyuma yangu, so you can't even actually see the end. Yeah. So what else is the cover photo? Hizo zingine ni clouds, as in it just represents us, where we at, the earth. So yeah, basically it's actually the earth. So this whole thing, because it's Whispers Within. Now within is within us, within that person you can see on the cover art, who is me and you. And the Whispers, of course, and the mountainous hilly places and the trees complementing each other. I mean, even the birds chaps well on the trees. Right? So yeah, it's just that I couldn't call it the chaps within, because I mean, we're not birds, we're human beings. Anyway, yeah, let's move straight to the beats. So when it comes to the beats, I was looking for something that is going to complement the cover art. I know it's weird, and I know it sounds like a theological class, just like I've said, like a theory class. So yeah, I was looking for a beat that is going to complement the cover art, and I had to describe it. Okay, so the beat was to complement the cover art, yes, but also I was looking at a nice beat that is going to complement with any time of the day. So either you listen to this in the morning, you will not feel like this beat is just a lot for me to listen in the morning. You understand? I was looking for something silent, something calm, something vibrant. Calm and vibrant at the same time. Also, I was considering that person who is going to be listening to this during the day, and maybe anataka kitu inaweza mchangamsha, like a beat kanaweza mchangamsha. This is also the beat. I feel like this beat was not overdone when it comes to the vibrant side of it. I feel like it's just enough, the right dose for this particular podcast, I was looking at those two complements, the cover art and the time which this podcast is going to be airing. I was actually looking at that person who is going to be listening to this podcast in the morning, just like me, because can we talk of how you can get to Anganya in the morning? I mean, it's 7 a.m. You're in Anganya with all this loud music. That can't be me. And I'm like, if it can't be me in a Monday morning in Anganya, then it can't be my fans. It can't be that person who's going to be listening to Campus Unknown podcast, who is not going to. It can't be someone who is going to listen to Whispers Within. So that's how I came up with these what can I call it? That's how I came up with these whole beats. And just to mention, I think yeah, that's it about the beat. So what else have I not explained about this podcast? So this podcast is going to be airing every single Monday at exactly 7 a.m. The reason as to why I chose 7 a.m. I remember when I shared this to my brother Emmanuel K, and he was like, "Why 7 a.m.?" I was like, Whispers Within. I feel like it's going to complement a morning time, and also it's going to complement any other time of the day. But I was actually putting into consideration those people who go to work or class or run errands in the morning, or those early birds that wake up and they just want something they can listen to. Those are the people I put into consideration first, because tunaonanga most podcasts zinayanga later in the day, right? Like for us, Campus Unknown podcast on this other side, we air our episodes on Friday at 12 p.m. or 12 noon, right? So what about this person who wants to listen to it in the morning? You understand? So I was actually looking at myself also, trying to see that, okay, natoka hapa naenda job every single morning from Monday to Friday. And I usually look for podcasts to listen to. How about if there's somebody out there who is also looking for something to listen to in the matatu while going to work? And by the podcast zina slapingi, I do listen to so many podcasts, and one of them is 30-minute podcast with EK. 30-minute podcast with EK. I also listen to Campus Unknown podcast. I also listen to another certain podcast, and so many, but not so many. So I was looking for like an additional podcast, and here it is, Whispers Within. Hata kama utakuja kusikiza this episode later in the day, it's okay. But now for the morning hours, I was considering those early birds that wake up to, to do their thing. The kind of content to be hosted here, just like I said, I was listening to my friend, some quite, I think it was April of this year, yeah. And he was sharing a story which was quite an inspiring story. And I was like, you know what? This is kind of story. These are the kind of stories that I want to be hosting on my podcast. And also remember coming to meet artist who is responsible for my cover art. And he shared quite some two stories, which one of them is going to be airing on Campus Unknown podcast. The other one is going definitely to be aired here on Whispers Within, because they are covering two different niche. So I felt, I'm like, I can also host him on this other side for this particular story. For Cap, it will be quite another different story. Yeah, so my friends, let me just say like 80% of this podcast, the reason as to why I was like, it should start is because of my friends or the people I've come across. I was like, if this is your story, why can't I share it to somebody else? I want somebody to feel like I'm not alone in this. I also want somebody to feel inspired through Whispers Within. So I'll just be covering a wide range of stories. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to be, picky in the kind of stories I'm going to host. No, I'll host happy stories. I will post sad stories. I'll post emotional stories, just any story as long as it's making sense to me as Ralph Masiga, and the fact that and also it is maybe influencing or resonating with me in a way. Also, I feel like maybe this is a topic or a story that can really motivate somebody out there. Definitely, why not? And I'm actually looking forward to hosting you who is listening to this particular podcast, because the good thing is we can actually do recording, no matter how far you are in this country or even in this continent, in this world. So it's a very wide that is something that I was looking for when I was planning about this particular podcast. I was even looking for my friend who was to travel to Dubai, and I was to cover his story. And I was like, okay, so how am I going to do it? And it actually made me go back to my plan. And I was like, so if like this friend of mine really is in Dubai and I want his story, because kama ni kurudi narudi December and me meeting with him again, kidogo. I'm not saying it's tough. It can happen, yeah, but what if I want that story before December? You understand? So I went back to the drawing board and I was like, this is what I'm going to do for people who are maybe outside the country or outside my area of locality. So any person kwenye uko tu and you're listening to this, you can be hosted on Whispers Within. Just DM me on Instagram at Ralph, which is RALPH_Masiga MASIGA. Currently, this podcast doesn't have a website. It doesn't have any social media pages. It doesn't have. So you can only come and DM me as the host. I don't think I have remained with something else that I should be saying about this podcast. Wow, I have. But this, I'm going to be explaining it later, maybe like the next episode. But I had to do this on the 26th of October. Why? Because it is my birthday. So I know I have said that this podcast is going to be airing on Mondays at 7. Yes, as from Monday. Sitaki kusema Monday 7 and then people think that as long as it's past 7, you can't listen to it. No. Even on Tuesday morning, evening, lunch hour, Monday lunch hour, evening, night, you can listen to this. Even on Saturday, you can listen to it. But this is just the launch, and I felt like I can't just launch a podcast without an episode. So why not bring up an episode, the debate episode, as I launch this podcast on my birthday? I wanted something that as I celebrate my birthday, I'll be looking back and being like, I also have something that I am celebrating. And this is it, because I am looking forward to Whispers Within creating an impact in the society and really helping people out here, because I feel like this is a podcast that is also going to help me a lot. You know, by hosting people's stories, I'll also be getting deep into those stories, definitely. So yeah, that's the reason as to why I did it on 26th of October. That is why I have broken the rule of posting it on a Monday. And let me just say as a finalize, also me posting it on 26th of October is something that has been influenced by my dad. And yeah, let me just tell you, I'm going to be explaining that next episode. You better stay tuned. I think as I start the episode, I will explain that. Yeah, I hope I will remember. I'll tell Emmanuel K, my personal assistant, to remind me and make sure that I have covered that for you in the next episode. Why? Because I feel like if I do it here, this episode is really going to run for quite some times. Na sitaki hiyo. You understand? Yeah, so all I can say is today is my birthday. Happy birthday to me. Ni surprise. Right? Let's move straight to me giving some vote of thanks. One, and let me start by thanking God for everything. I mean, this far we've created Campus and Podcast, tukamaliza tukaingia. No, set tukamaliza. It's still going, as in tulianza, and we're still there. Most people thought that this podcast is going to die, but unfortunately, no, it's not going to die. And I pray it doesn't. I pray for CAP to continue creating an impact Benina create, you know. And thanks to everybody who listens to Campus and Podcast. Now you can watch our episodes on YouTube. Huyo bado ni God. I mean, ametushikilia. So God giving me this opportunity to come up with Whispers Within that I believe is going to create an impact to people, also a positive impact. What else do I want? What else do I want? So a special thanks to God Almighty for such an amazing such an amazing podcast and an amazing opportunity to be doing this for you guys. Also, thanks to my parents for the support. Let me tell you, these people have been here for me ever since I started my podcasts, ever since I joined the media world, the content creation world. Despite me pursuing something different, they still push me to be like, achieve. As long as it's something you're doing, just achieve it, Something that we have never said, or maybe we have on Campus and podcast is, Cap, by the way, imetukula pesa, imetukula do, and we've never felt tired of it. And even at that time, I wasn't somewhere that I can say I was employed, or even, having those small gigs. I didn't have anything that was generating income. Neither was Emmanuel, neither was Lynn, but we still found ourselves raising money and, running Campus Around podcast. And at that time, I remember I used to come back to my parents and I'm like, I have a podcast and I need to do this and this and that. So they used to give me the monies. And they'd be like, I hope this is going to help. You just go do your thing. And that is what I used to do exactly. So apart from my parents, who else can I give a vote of thanks to? Emmanuel K for being, let me tell you, this guy is God sent. Ever since we started Campus and podcast, we've just been this close and we just help each other where need be when it comes to mambos of social media and content creation and all. As long as it's something in line with media, even outside media, we just we're like brothers. We push each other forward. This podcast you're listening to right now, he also has influenced it in one way or another, because as I said, when we were talking about, maybe I have forgotten to mention, but when we were talking about how I came up with the name Whispers Within, I remember I also sent Emmanuel a sample of the names, 2-3 names, and he was like, also Whispers Within in a give. Tukafanya the diligence check, or what is it called? Those blah, mabu, whatever. It's just the first episode and I really want to use those cursing words. So, and he was like, it seems it clear, you go, So yeah, thanks so much to him. Also, you can tune into his solo podcast at 30-minute podcast with Emmanuel K. What else? Nothing. Yeah. Oh, special thanks to, how can I forget this? Special thanks to Roy Kadurima from RCMRT. This guy is an IT student and he is the great mind behind my cover art. He designed it for me. By designing, I mean he created it for me. Yeah, so the professional person didn't want a shout out. So yeah, I just have to keep it to myself. I don't know why, but the one who created it now with the whole idea that we had was Roy Kadurima. So shout out to you, and I appreciate the cover art so much. I remember when he sent it to me, I was like, God, I didn't expect it to be this good. Because everything was just complimenting, everything was just there. And saindo nakumbuka, I didn't mention something in the cover art, and it was about the heartbeat and the heartbeat line. They're complimenting the tagline, where every story has a heartbeat. That is the tagline for Whispers Within, and that's why you can see the heart, and down the heart there is the heartbeat line. Yeah, sorry for that. Nilikuwa nimesahau. Ni mambo mengi. I'm recording this on a Monday morning. Na nangangana kumaliza nirudi Nairobi. That's why I'm actually in a hurry. So yeah, there is that. Also, my beats guy, Circuit, thank you so much. You know what I was actually doing to Roy and to Peter or Circuit was just me describing, I want something like this and this and this, and they're like, I got you. They just go do their thing. Peter also, I'm like, I want this and that beat, a silent and yet vibrant. Yani I was describing something until I'm like, where Ralph akunapia watu stress? Is it even making sense? How do you want something silent and vibrant at the same time? But actually walikuwa nanielewa. Funny thing, these people walikuwa nanielewa. So they created some amazing things for Roy, the cover art. For Peter or Circuit, he created an amazing beat. And also for the context, Circuit is our manager pale Campus and podcast. I want to also poach him, come be my manager hapa Whispers Within. Yeah, I feel like that's it for Whispers Within. Yeah, for Whispers Within. This podcast is going to be having an intro and an outro. This is just a hurried kind of episode because I had to launch it on my birthday. And you guys, I hope you're going to understand. Thank you for keeping me company. I'm trying to think, could I have skipped any person or anything? that is supposed to be included in this episode, but I don't think so. Right? Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hosting some amazing stories, inspiring stories, and so many stories on this particular podcast. This is Whispers Within, a podcast by Ralph Masiga. Thank you for keeping me company till the end. Next week we might not be having an episode. That is Monday. In Sato Monday, we might not be having an episode, but the other Monday, definitely we will have an amazing episode, which might be a solo, or it might be me hosting a story from a certain person. Anyway, stay tuned. Just know what is going to be happening on this particular podcast. Hakuna kitu ingine tumeskip. Anyway, have a fantastic time. Thank you so much. Again, thank you. All I ask for is for you guys to go follow me on Spotify, rate it a 5-star podcast, and also engage with me on my social media platform at Ralph_Masiga across all social media platforms. Sana pale Instagram, it's RALPH_MASIGA. On Twitter is at Masiga Ralph as one word. Thank you so much. Till next time. Goodbye.